in California. We married on the first day it was available. Packed up the kids after I left work on Monday night, drove to California, spent the night in Palm Springs, went to Indio, got our license, and went back to Palm Springs and was married there. Took the kids for ice cream and drove home. So it wasn't exactly a long honeymoon, but then we had our 5 and 10-year-old with us as well. One of the interesting things that happened to me as we got married is that, and I'm assuming it's because we had our kids with us, we were interviewed by many, many members of the media. I think we had 4 interviews in Indio, and in fact, 2 different TV crews and a still photographer actually were in on the ceremony in Palm Springs. And because of that, we were actually also mentioned in a New York Times article about gay marriage in California. My aunt called me the next morning to congratulate me because she had seen it in the New York Times. Also, as a result of that New York Times article, we were interviewed here in Tucson on the Channel 13 News. We were actually the lead story at 5 and 6 and a blurb at the 10 o'clock news. And all I could think of was, don't they have better things to talk about? But clearly they didn't. So we were very much in the media, and I think that's probably why I was asked to come. My experience has been, I'm a family practice doc and I have my own office here. The day after our interview on TV as Channel 13's lead story, I said to my front office, you may be getting some phone calls today. If patients are upset and call to tell you that, tell them I am sorry to hear that and we would be happy to send their records elsewhere. If patients are calling to congratulate me, please just take down their names so I can thank them the next time I see them. I have a fairly large practice and I had not one single negative comment. And I have a fairly geriatric practice as well. And I had lots and lots of congratulations from my over 60, over 70, and over 80 crowd. I also wrote an op-ed piece about the proposition here that was the constitutional amendment to ban gay marriage, and it turns out that more of my patients actually read the newspaper than watch TV, because I had lots more comments after that actually than the TV. And once again, not one of my patients has said anything negative to me about that. So overall, my experience of getting married has been a good one. It has not changed my life in any way. We were married for 18 years before we got married, and really it was just about time.
I'm Buck Bannister. I work with Rainbow Foot Soldiers here in Tucson, and I also work with Marriage Equality USA. And I've been with my husband Michael for a little over 11 years now. And I really, just this past year, I've really become very involved in working towards marriage equality. It's always been one of those things on the back burner for me. But a couple years ago, we both went through some major health issues. I had to have a liver transplant and he had cancer, all at the same time. During that experience, it really brought home to me how tenuous our relationship was legally. Our doctors treated us with great respect for the most part. The nurses were fine. We didn't run into the problems that Charlene did of telling people we couldn't see each other. In fact, when I was in the hospital, they went out of their way to let Michael sleep in my room so that I wouldn't be alone. The things that we did run into were little things, and there were little things that brought home. All it takes is one person running into one person in that hospital who doesn't like who you are, and that's it. And those things were, when we fill out paperwork and it asks for next of kin, we always put each other down, regardless. And we would scratch out, you know, husband or wife or whatever your little choices they give you there, and we would write in partner. And there were a couple times filling out that paperwork that somebody would say, oh, well, no, you have to put down your real next of kin. And I said, well, who would that be? Oh, well, your parents or something. I said, my parents are dead. Well, do you have any siblings? Yeah. Well, you have to put them down. And those little things would really bring home that all it takes is one person. One person in that hospital to say, nah, I don't like you. And they could shut off your access to your partner. They could shut off his access to me, and we'd be all alone. That's a scary thought. And the more we went through all that, the more that we realized that just how tenuous things were. I began to get more and more involved in the struggle for marriage equality. And when we moved here to Arizona, this was back in South Carolina, where we were. When we moved here to Arizona, I really got involved with Marriage Equality USA, and also with our own organization, with Sandy Senecal, who is my straight married friend, who supports us to no end. And we began Rainbow Foot Soldiers to support other organizations working for equality, not just marriage equality, but employment discrimination and other things too. That's how I became involved in it. I have my older brother passed away from complications from AIDS many years ago, and before he passed, his partner did, and he struggled with insurance companies. That was my first run-in with just how bad all of these little documents that we all have, which is what's in this folder, because we're doing new ones this afternoon after this, because Sandy and Jeff are our witnesses, just how much those are meaningless. My brother, when his partner passed away, they had an insurance policy together. My brother was the beneficiary, and the insurance company balked on paying it. And he had to hire a lawyer. They had to take it to court, and the first motion that the insurance company made was that my brother had no standing in the lawsuit because he wasn't married. And it was a pretty near thing that they actually almost kicked out the case. Eventually they did settle out of court. But here you have an insurance policy, a legal contract, and sure enough, according to the state law in South Carolina, it was an iffy deal whether it was legal or not, because we have an amendment that says that anything that approximates marriage is illegal. Having a life insurance policy for the person you live with could be construed to approximate marriage. So it was a near miss. And those things, nothing as dramatic as what Charlene went through, of course, but those things really have made me work very hard for marriage equality. And I'm very pleased to be here, and I'm very grateful that Kaz asked me to come sit on the panel today.